Number 6. When you have cube factors, remember that you need to write each of these as cubes. So we have 2 cubes. Okay, when you're doing your cubes, your first parenthesis, you just take away the cubes, right? So that means I'm going to have 2 plus x. On your next parenthesis, this first part is the first part squared. So 2 squared is 4. If this is plus, the sign's going to be minus, and you multiply those together. 2 times x is 2x, and then your last term is the last term squared, which would be x squared. Remember that it's on this orange cube factoring sheet too, right up there. Okay, this is over. This is what? How do I factor at the bottom? Keep it in the correct order. 2 minus x and 2 plus x. Okay, on the top, there's 4 terms, so we're going to have to use grouping, right? Okay, what can I take out of that first group? And we have left x plus 2. What can I take out of my second group?
7.
And I have left x plus 2. So that means that when I factor that out, this is now my GCF is x plus 2. And we're left with x squared plus 7. Okay, and the denominator. Is there a GCF? X. And when we take that out, we're left with x squared minus 2x plus 4. Shh. Is there any numbers that multiply to be 4 and add to be negative 2? No. Okay, but you can try, but it will not work. If you look, so now let's try to cancel things out. What can cancel? Okay, 2 plus x. If you look here, see how this 4 is positive and this 4 is positive? This 2x is negative, this 2x is negative, this x squared is positive, this x squared is positive. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, no.
Because this has all pluses and this has a minus in it, so it's not going to, even if you took out a negative, one of the numbers would still be negative.
So that's the answer?
So that's your answer. So we have x plus 2 times x squared plus 7 all over, and then I would put the x in front, and then you have 2 minus x. And that is your answer.
But you took out the x squared too, right? So
Well, no, but remember, at this point, we took out, then you take out your x plus 2 and you're left with x squared plus 7. This right here factors to be that right there. We did grouping. There was 4 terms. We took out the x squared in this group and you're left with x plus 2. We took out the 7 in this group and we're left with x plus 2. When you're doing grouping, these parentheses match. So now we're factoring out x plus 2 and you're left with your x squared plus 7. Okay? All right, number 7. Notice on number 7, it's division. What do you need to remember when you're dealing with division? KFC. Keep, flip, change to multiplication. So, how do I factor x squared minus 4?
X plus 2, x minus 2.
Okay, this one, what method am I going to have to use?
Over under.
So, we go over by 2. I get x squared minus 5x plus 4. What numbers will work? What will add to be negative 5, multiply to be positive 4? X minus 4 and x minus 1. Always double check and they work. Okay, but we need to remember to do what? If we went over by 2, we need to go under by 2 and reduce. 4 over 2, that reduces to x minus 2. 1/2 doesn't reduce, so it becomes 2x minus 1. We're changing division to multiplication, which means that this is going to end up going to the top. Okay, when I factor that, what do I end up getting?
2x minus 1. 2x plus 1.
Okay, the denominator. I go over by 2, which ends up making x squared minus 3x minus
4.
4. What multiplies to be negative 3 and adds to be negative 4? I just said that wrong. What multiplies to be negative 4 and adds to be negative 3? 4 and 1. X minus 4 and x plus 1. But what do I need to do?
Bring the one, 2 back.
Under. Good. So this will reduce to be x minus 2. And this one will become 2x plus 1. Okay? Now we check to see what we can cancel. So what do we see? 2x plus 1's. X minus 2's.
2x minus 1.
2x minus 1. And that's it.
Plus 2 over x minus 2.
Yes. So one thing on this test that you really need to know how to do is what? Factor. You need to know how to factor and check what's the same. Okay, number 8.
Wait, what number?
Number 8? What's wrong? What's wrong? Yes. Is there something that just happened that's inappropriate?
No.
Okay, so in order to add fractions, they need to have what? In order to add fractions, you need to have common denominators. Okay, so we need to check what this factors to be. What does it factor to be?
X plus 2 and x plus 2 and x minus 3.
No, both will be plus. Adds to be 5, multiplies to be 6. Shh. Okay, so what would be my common denominator then?
X plus 2. Don't you have to multiply by x plus 3?
X plus 2, x plus 3 on both of them. Okay, so I rewrite my fractions. Okay, now this one, I did not change
Anything.
I did not change anything, so the top stays the
Same.
same. 6x plus 7. On this one, I had an x plus 2, but in order to make it x plus 2, x plus 3, I need to multiply by...
X plus 3.
So you're multiplying by x plus 3 to the top and the bottom.
We get 5x plus 3.
Very good. You need to remember that you're multiplying this 5 times both of those, so we have to distribute. So 5 times x is... And 5 times 3 is 15. Courtney, please put your phone away. Okay, now that you have common denominators, you can add. Okay, so 5x and 6x makes,
11x.
and 15 plus 7 is 22 over x plus 2 times x plus 3. Always check if you can factor. Can
11.
Very good. So if we take out an 11, I'm left with x plus 2, and on the bottom I have x plus 2 and x plus 3. These cancel, and we end up with
11 over x plus 3.
okay. Number 9. What is wrong?
You gotta pull out a negative.
Good. These are not exactly the same. If I take out a negative, though, here on the bottom, I get a negative y and a positive x, which is what that is, a positive x and a negative y. But 2 negatives right here end up making a positive. So that means on the top I have 2 plus y, and the denominator I have x minus y. And nothing cancels. That is your answer. Say that again. So in order to make them the same, you need to take a negative out, okay, which make the y negative and the x positive, and then 2 negatives make a positive. So that changes that to a positive. So these were not the same. Take out a negative. Okay, I'm going to stop this page.